It is piano time. Here we are. Hi everybody, nice to see you again today. It is Saturday. This is our 20th lesson, so congratulations to everybody for getting this far in your piano journey. This is really good. So today, first thing I want you to do is hit the like button and share this video with your network, letting them know that it's time for piano, okay? The second thing is of course, if you can subscribe on YouTube for me, that would be really helpful, right? Helps me reach even more people on YouTube and across the internet, telling them about these really good free lessons that I'm giving online, okay? So that would be very helpful, thank you. The next thing is of course, if you haven't joined our private Facebook group, you are missing out because I give feedback, I give tips, I give tricks, I even give like sneak peeks of different things that are coming in the calendar. I'd love to have you. Our group is called Encore Music Makers. So put in your request to join and I will approve you after lessons today, all right? The last thing, of course, is I am on Patreon, right? So Patreon is one of those platforms for creative people like myself to give, for you to give me a more consistent, regular income. Since I'm a donation-based studio, I rely on donations to keep these things going. So choose a tier that works for you between $5 and $50 a month for these high-quality lessons that I'm providing. And you will help keep me going, right? I'm thriving off of you people that are supporting me. I think I'm up to 35 patrons. I would love to have more. So consider joining on Patreon. I would love to have you. All right? Well, all right, I think that's basically it, right? So we've got to do a quick review of what we had learned last week, right? So last week we had pretty much done a quick overview of our standing in the need of prayer. And then I told you about this really very helpful technical exercise called Hanon, right? And your Hanon that I had assigned you was on page 78 of your book, okay? So here's the book. Adult All-in-One Course, Alfred Level 1. We're going to turn to page 78, all right? Yes. Amazing Aerobics of Hanon, all right? So this is a very helpful exercise that strengthens those fingers, strengthens those wrists, and really gives you a workout, all right? So let's go over our Hanon number 1, okay? Let's do it hands apart to start, and then we'll do it hands together. All right, let's see how this goes. Wonderful. So we're in C position, right? Starting with the right hand. You remember that it's going to have that break between that 1 and 2. That D is going to be empty, right? So it actually says to start 1 octave lower. So I'm going to lower my hand 1 octave, okay? This is going to be our start. And I'm going to just play the right hand to begin, all right? Let's do this. 1, 2, ready, play. Okay, now we need to do the left hand, don't we? Yes. So here with the left hand, we're going to be starting an octave below what we would typically start for C position. And a big skip we're going to have between that finger 5 and finger 4, C to E, all right? Same idea here. Let's play a hands apart. Here's the left hand. 1, 2, ready, play. Job, yes. Okay, so you'll find that Hanon is one of those exercises that really works your hands, fingers, and wrists. It's essential for every piano player to learn Hanon because it's like one of those exercises that has everything. It's a workout for everything. So keep it in your repertoire, in your practice, and in your technique. So you keep those fingers and hands nice and strong, okay? Now, I said I was going to play hands together. I don't know if we're ready for that, but I would like you to work on a hands together this week, okay? So keep your Hanon number 1 on your list for practicing, okay? Now, we're going to actually skip over Hanon 2, and I'm going to have you turn the page, okay? So let's look at page 80, okay? If you look at the top of page 80, it says introducing dotted quarter notes, okay? Yeah, so a new note we're going to be learning today, okay? Now, if you can recall, when you add a dot to any note, it increases the length of that note or the duration of that note by 1/2 of its value, okay? So think about it. We used to have a note, or actually we still have a note, called the half note, right? It's a half note. But then when we put a dot on it, and the half note is 2 beats. When we added a dot to it, it turned it into 3 beats long, okay? Now we're going to do the same sort of thing with the quarter note, right? So we've got the quarter note, and that's 1 beat. And if we're increasing the duration by 1/2 of the note's value, we're going to add 1/2 a beat to a dot, to a quarter note, for a total of 1.5 or 1.5 beats, okay? Now you're probably wondering, how does all of this sort of like translate to actual music being played or the rhythm that we're hearing, okay? I want you to turn your big beats, your 1, 2, 3, 4, we're gonna divide them, okay? And we're gonna put the syllable and in between, okay? So it sounds more like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Does that make sense? Yeah, okay. So for a total beat, a total duration for the dotted quarter, it's going to be 1 and 2. right? But then on the and of a 2 beat, that's when you play or clap your next note, okay? Here's an example. Look at the very bottom line of page 80. There's a rhythmic line with a dotted quarter note and an eighth note. A dotted quarter note and an eighth note. I'm going to clap it so you know what it sounds like, okay? And I will say my syllables. 1, 2, ready, clap. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2. Doesn't that make more sense now? You see that the next clap is on the upbeat of the second beat, right? For a total of duration of that first note for 1.5 beats. Let's give you a little bit more context when we're looking at these examples on page 81 of some popular songs that have this beat in it, okay? I know it's kind of like, well, what is she talking about? If we don't have any examples, how are we going to know? Well, let's look at page 81, okay? So at page 81, the very top line, you see something that's very familiar. So if you know Christmas music, you know the song Silent Night, right? So if you think of that syllable in the song, it goes, Silent night, holy night. So the dotted quarter is actually that first syllable, the sigh of silent and the whole of holy, okay? It's interesting to see. So let's use our ears and listen, okay? Now, if you want to join me at the piano, you can. Top line of 81, we're starting on a finger 4 on an F. This is right hand C position. So if you'd like to play along, you're more than welcome to, okay? Let's count off. 1, 2, 3, ready, and play. Silent night, holy night. Excellent work. Now, moving on to the second line. It's telling us we're going to be in that middle C position, that butterfly, okay? We're going to have both our thumbs on middle C, and we have fanned out our fingers. We're going to start with that finger 5 pinky on G, and there's that dotted quarter note rhythm. You ready? This is Deck the Halls. I think you're very familiar with this one as well. Let me count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Excellent work. Now, here's another example. Look at that third line of music. We've got our finger 4 left hand on G, right? We're still in middle C position. And here we go. It's like we've gone through Christmas. Now we're at New Year's, right? We are singing Auld Lang Syne, right? So here we go. Let's see how that one goes. 1, 2, 3. Should old acquaintance be forgot? Yeah, see, there's that dotted quarter note at the beginning, right? It's a very interesting rhythm. Now we've rushed through New Year's all the way into wedding season, so let's go down here to C position. Here comes the bride, all right? Here we go, right hand finger 1 on C. I'm going to count off. 1, 2, ready, play. Here comes the bride, all dressed in white. There you go. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, dotted quarter notes are pretty much found all over the place in popular music. It's one of those notes that you will encounter on a very regular basis, so it's important for us to remember that 1.5 beats that you get for a dotted quarter, okay? Now, keep those little familiar tunes under your fingers for practicing this week, just to help you with those dotted quarters, because they can get a little confusing. But let's go ahead and turn our page. On page 82, you're going to find the song Alouette, okay? This is a super popular children's song, okay? Like a nursery rhyme or something similar, okay? It's a French folk song. I'm not going to sing it for you in French, sorry. But I am going to teach you this song, okay? We're going to start in a C position. It says brightly for the tempo, so we're going to have it moderately fast. We have chords in our left hand, and we're starting a nice forte, okay? So let's go through Alouette. I'm going to start with the right hand only to start, okay? Join me over there. Let's do some piano view. Okay, right hand thumb is on middle C, okay? I'm going to begin, and I'm going to play through the whole thing, all right? A lot of these notes should be fairly easy for you to find, okay? 1, 2, ready, play. 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, rest. 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, rest. Da, 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 bum, bum. Finger 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 5, 5, 5. Rest, rest. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, rest. 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Very good. All right. How did you feel about that right hand? It wasn't too bad. It wasn't too tricky. I think the hardest part was probably counting out those rests, right? Now, let's do the same thing with the left hand. Alouette, C position. We're playing some nice harmonic chords that we know really well already, all right? Let's switch to piano view. All right, so we're starting here in a C position. I have my 1 chord and I am ready to go. Let's count off together. 1, 2. We're ready. Play. 2, 3, 4, G7, 2, and a 1 chord. G by itself, 1 chord. 2, 3, 4, and a G7. Back to a 1. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1. Rest. 2, 3, 4. Rest. 2. 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 chord. 2, 3, 4. G7 chord. Back to a 1 with the G. 1 chord. 2, 3, 4 with the G7. 2 and a 1, 2. Magnificent work, my friends. Yes, that was really good. Yeah, starting the songs hands apart, I feel is always very validating, because it just shows like that you have the skills to do it, right? And you practice it hands apart as many times as you need to before even attempting to put it hands together, okay? Now there are some really interesting dynamic shifts in here, and I'm going to try to emulate that while I play it hands together for you, okay? If you need to, follow along in your music, and that way you know how the song goes, okay? Let's do this. Okay, here we go. C position, starting forte. I'm going to count off. 1, 2. Ready, play. 2. Piano. actually did a fairly good job on that. Yes, so you really mastered that Alouette, okay? If you encounter anything tricky, remember, use a pencil, right? Just grab your pencil and you can circle those tricky spots. If you find that there's certain sections that are really giving you trouble, join me Monday for practice with me. I know that practice with me this past week was kind of bunk because we had a tropical storm and I didn't really have a chance to do it. But this upcoming Monday, we will have practice. So join me live if you can, okay? You will also be able to find those practice sessions on YouTube later, as well as this lesson. So if you need to run, that's okay. Just find me later on YouTube, okay? Wonderful work on Alouette, okay? Now, I like this song because it's in a comfortable position for us. I also like this song because it's sort of like a review or a recap of what we learned over the summer, right? Like our chords, our dynamics, the different types of notes like quarter notes, eighth notes, and half notes, as well as whole notes. And now the introduction of the dotted quarter note, right? It really makes a huge difference. So practice Alouette. You're also going to practice all of those popular tunes on page 81 that practice that dotted quarter note, as well as your Hanon exercise number 1 located on page 78. Okay? It seems like a lot, right? But you can definitely do this, all right? I believe in each and every one of you. You've done such a magnificent job learning these last 20 lessons on piano. It's remarkable to think that, you know, the whole world kind of stops with the virus and then you just all of a sudden start learning how to play the piano. That's a pretty amazing thing. And you might end up surprising a lot of people come Christmas time when you can like actually play something cool. So good for you. All right. Well, no theory for this week. You guys got lucky again. But I promise your theory homework is going to start again next week, okay? When we learn about sixths, okay? Really good stuff. I'm continually amazed seeing you guys interact in the private group. It's pretty awesome. So, all right. So, Patreon, of course. I always mention Patreon. It's because it really makes a huge difference, right? If you think that the value that I'm bringing here every week to you through your piano instruction is worthy of a donation, please consider doing so on a regular basis. It's super easy. I have people, they go on there, they choose a level that they're comfortable with. You know, $5 is like what? Would you rather get a $5 footlong or $5 of piano? It's actually pretty good, right? And I tell you what, those $5 levels really do help. They add up. I have several people at $5. I have several at $10. I even have several at $20 and $50 too. It just depends on how, what works for you and your family and your budget, all right? I appreciate it either way, so. All right, wonderful. Well, we end every single lesson, you should know this by now, right? With a music quote. And today's quote is more of like a general inspirational quote. And it's actually, we don't really know who said it first. So I have written down as anonymous, the elusive anonymous, right? So today's music quote says, "The key to success is to focus on goals, not obstacles," right? So like the biggest obstacle of all that we've been thrown this year, of course, is the virus, right? But you have really turned this around. With piano, maybe you just stumbled across me on YouTube and you're like, well, you know what? I'm going to learn some piano, right? Why not? Since you're going to be home. It really, you know, the decisions that you make as a teen or as an adult, you know, it really shows when you put your mind to something, you can definitely achieve it. And nothing is going to get in your way of achieving those goals, right? I'm super proud of you guys. Thanks again for tuning in. I always have a lot of fun every week. Join me in the private group and I'll see you next week, all right? Take care, guys. Bye.